Oh my God, now we get a Prime subscriber. Yay!
Oh, where's the alert?
We got a Prime subscriber, YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Welcome to the 10-minute update. So today we have a couple of things to go through. And probably if you're watching, you're most curious about what's happening with the Lekker edition. Because if you were very attentive, you would have known that we would have had DVT by yesterday. DVT did not happen. Now, don't worry, not end of the world. Let me explain. We plan to do mass production for the Wooting 2 Lekker edition on the 22nd of January. It's almost a final date, so it will be in the schedule. And I have not made it final yet because it just recently happened and I'm not sure if something's going to change, but it looks like we could make that a hard date pretty soon. When the mass production happens on the 22nd of January, it only takes like a day or two and then it's done. It goes really fast. The quantity we're producing with this factory is really small. Like for the factory, it's really small. So the dangerous part, though, and the scary part is that I only have like 22nd of January is just enough time to get the goods out of China, basically get it on a boat and get the hell out of there. So it goes to our warehouses and we can follow up with all the deliveries and everything, because if it's Chinese New Year, everything closes down in China until like the end of February. So like starting March, that things open up again and it takes really long time before things really start to move. So 22nd of January gives us like 3 weeks of time to get it out. Should be more than enough time to get stuff out. I've tried to get like feedback from forwarders and brokers about, when is the cutoff date? When is the last boat? When don't you take any more new shipments, etc.? And they're all like, well, we're not sure actually. We can't estimate that right now, really. And which sounds really weird to me. You would have thought like there's like this like one day it's like cut off everything or something. But okay, so that's a bit scary. So what happened with DVT? So DVT, there's like a good thing and a bad thing. DVT got delayed to the 24th of December, or in that week at least. And that would have been really bad for mass production because we need to do the DVT process, which is design validation test, which basically means that they do a final check on all the parts, and they assemble the whole keyboard. The way that they would assemble the keyboard, they would do all the packaging, and it would like do a vibration test, they do a cable stress test, they do humidity test, whatever test. It's like the final test to see if every part works as expected, or at least within the requirements. And after they've done all these tests, after they've done DVT, they purchased like the full mass production quantity. Now, the thing that we already did, we cheated a little. We already bought all the electronic components for the PCBA because we could settle on those. We put in early orders for like the switch plate and for the keycaps because we knew those lead times would be long. But the cable and the packaging and what's the last one? PCB. So the PCB is like the PCB board itself without all the components on it, right? That one is usually made like shortly before you do a mass production. Those were not purchased yet. And if DVT would happen on the 24th of December and everything would be fine and we'd start doing purchasing, we could probably not make the deadline for 22nd of January mass production because the lead times are just too long. So we decided to what's called a risky buy. That means that without actually confirming everything with the DVT, we're just going to buy all the mass production quantities. And we feel fairly safe doing this because we've kind of already confirmed the whole keyboard. And there's very few differences between what we confirmed and what is going to be the final parts. And then when it comes to like the whole functionality of the keyboard, there's a lot of room to play with when it comes to software. So if there's a real like a hardware thingy that suddenly surprises us, then unlike Wooting 1, Wooting 2, it's easier to deal with it. But it stays a risky buy because if we find out there's something wrong with the PCBA, meaning like they bought the PCB but they haven't assembled all the components, but the PCB itself, like the routing and everything, we find out something is wrong with it, we have to throw it all away, like the whole quantity, and buy again, and we'll still not make the mass production. So it makes it risky, but that makes also sure that we can do the production on the 22nd of January and not like on the 4th of March. Can you imagine waiting more months on this freaking keyboard? Like, I'm getting crazy that we're like constantly trying to get this into production, and it's like constantly like a new thing. Like, okay, make sure of that, make sure of this, test that, to get the keyboard into production. So, right. So I'm very happy that we can still make that deadline. But if something really crazy happens, I really don't want that to be. I'm really going to go crazy. Okay, so then that was about production for Wooting 2 Lekker Edition. For the HE, we still have a similar timeline. We probably think we'll deliver in May instead of April, but we don't want to change the date until we have a more fixed timeline. So we're still following up and following schedule as we were planning to do with the Wooting 2 HE. We don't see a big reason for there to be a big delay at all. But we can't really say until after Chinese New Year when we get closer to MP of HE itself. Right now, Lekker Edition comes first. Okay, then over the last couple of weeks or something, in the previous update, I shared a bit about this like Fortnite stuff. And it's starting to gain traction now in the Fortnite community, and they're kind of finding out like, oh crap, okay, using the Wooting keyboard, this is like this huge advantage you can get over other people, thanks to our like keyboard and controller mechanisms. And it's just, you're not able to like mimic this with any other keyboard basically. So now there's like more demand for Wooting 1 keyboards. So if you're a Fortnite player and you're watching this update and you're wondering like, oh my God, the keyboards are sold out. In Europe, our stock is actually really limited, like really limited. I think only German and UK Wooting 1 keyboards are what we can supply in an okay sense. But when it comes to US Wooting 1s in Europe, so our Europe International Store, it's going to be very limited. We'll have new stock by next week, Tuesday in Europe, and we'll have stock of all the models, also Wooting 2 keyboards that are out of stock right now. And it's a limited stock. But then in the US, it's also out of stock right now, and it's going to take like about 2 weeks before I have more stock. We should have enough supply in the US over time, but it's just going to take a little bit longer. So I do recommend that if you want to get the Wooting 1 anyway because of this, then you might as well still place a pre-order. Because otherwise, if I purchase less, then you're just going to have to wait longer if you purchase it later. Maybe you missed the slot. So, okay. Then ISO DE layouts will be back in Europe, Tiger. All right. So then the last thing is that we will have our Wooting end of the year live stream again this year, right, Eric?
Yay! Woo!
Yeah, maybe you've missed the announcement on Twitter or on Discord, otherwise you should check it out. But on the 30th of December, we're going to have the Wooting live stream, end of the year live stream. And the Wooting end of the year live stream is one of the best live streams of the whole year and arguably of whole Twitch. Because this is when all the whole Wooting team, so that's going to be now Eric, who's the little guy on my side here, myself, Jeroen, Simon, and Kevin are going to be on the live stream, and we'll be taking a look back at 2020 and closing down the year together with you. And then we'll have our super popularly famous and most notorious end of the year quiz. And in this quiz, you can win amazing prizes. And it wouldn't surprise me if you can win a Wooting 2 HE, for example, if you win the quiz. And then in this quiz, you need to, the quiz basically asks questions about what happened in 2020. And if the faster you answer the most correct answers, you can get higher up into the quiz and win. So 30th of December at 2 o'clock Central European time, we will have end of the year live stream, and it's going to take for like 4 hours. So if you jump in like 2 hours later, you're still okay. The quiz, I think we're going to do halfway, Eric?
Somewhere
Halfway.
I mean, you need to watch the whole stream to know where the quiz is, right? I mean, I'm not gonna
Ooh, there we go. All right. So that's basically everything for the 10-minute update. If you are watching this on YouTube, then I recommend you to join the live streams, the Twitch live streams, because they're a lot more fun. Because we're going to jump into now an open session and talk about more details and more other fun stuff and some secret stuff we might be working on. So I recommend you to join the Twitch live streams. And otherwise, see you in the next 10-minute update. Bye-bye.
Bye, YouTube.